Hello everyone. This is going to be the portion of the workshop where the kids are going to learn how to do some programming. So this is going to happen after they go out into the art gallery and they're going to have their lesson delivered by Daniel, and they'll be talking about color and expression or color and emotions. They're going to come back into the workshop where they're going to groups of two will have a computer. We're going to have them come back. We're going to talk about what they just learned in the gallery, and then they're going to get to choose their own colors that they want to work with in this kind of interactive painting workshop. So they're going to choose colors, and then we're going to have them sit down, and we're going to say that now we're going to do a bit of programming where we're going to associate the color with a sound that's going to reflect the expression of that color. So we're going to first delete this cat because that's just the default icon that shows up when they first open this program. And we're going to get them to go over to create a new sprite. Now this sprite is just going to represent the colors that they have chosen. So I would say that I'd like to have 3 colors that they get to work with. If time is a constraint, then we'll just have them choose 2 colors. But I'd suppose 3 would be more fun. So what I will get them to do is just choose this circle and then just draw a circle. And this will just be the default circle that will be just the default state. So after this, we're just going to have them duplicate that circle. And now this is where they'll get to choose the color. So let's say they chose red, and they'll just select this paint bucket and they'll fill this circle with red. So then they've picked 2 other colors, so they just need to repeat this process. So let's say they've chosen a blue color, and let's just fill that with blue with the paint bucket tool. And then finally we'll do a green color, and we'll use the paint bucket tool to do that. Okay, now we've got the 3 colors that they would have chosen, and we can just get them to name these colors so that they can keep track of which color is which. Okay, so let's just say blue, and this one is red, and this just default one, which isn't completely necessary. I just like to have this one here, which is we'll just name circle. So the circle will be the default, and let's go back to the scripts now, and this is where they'll start doing a bit of programming. So we want them to create an event that is going to be programmable. So we're going to pull that out. We're going to use the when space key is pressed. And we're going to work with the arrow keys. So let's start up with the up arrow, and we want to assign a color to that up arrow. So we're going to go over to looks, and we're going to use this switch costume to green command, and let's choose that, make that a red. So when the up arrow is pressed, it becomes red. Now all we need to do is duplicate that, and we'll do an up arrow. So let's do the right arrow becomes blue. So that way I can hit the up arrow, it becomes red, and the right arrow becomes blue. So right now we have up arrow is red, right arrow is blue. So one more time, we've got one more color, and we'll make the down arrow green. So there we have it. So down arrow is green, up arrow is red, right arrow is blue. There we go. So we've got 3 keys that are assigned to different colors. And just to get the default state back in there, just in case we want to go back to no colors, we can have the left arrow be the original circle. So that way the left arrow just takes us back to the default state. Right arrow is, or I'm sorry, the up arrow is red, right arrow is blue, down arrow is green. So now the next thing we want to do is add that expression to these colors, that audio expression. So what we want to do is we want to go into sound, and we want to just take this play sound pop command, and now when I press the up arrow, it's going to change red and also play a pop. So this is where the kids can get a bit creative with the sound that they make and how they want to associate their colors. They can go into this record button, and they could choose already default sounds that are in the library for Scratch, or what we can get them to do is do a new recording. So let's say for red, I want that to be an angry color. So I'm going to hit this button to create a new recording, and I'm going to make a grr sound when I press record. So when I press record, I'm going to make a grr sound because that's an angry sound, and red is angry. And here we go. So here I will do a grr sound. You can see that the levels are already recording. So here we go. Grr. Alright, so now we have the complete audio file here, and you can see that here's my grr sound that I want to grr. That's the sound that I want to isolate. So what's easy is that all you have to do is click and drag and then press delete, and that pretty much gets rid of all the sounds that are around the sound that I want. Grr, grr. Okay, so that's the sound that I want. I can now rename this to grr, so that now I can pick that sound out. So just for the interest of time, I'll do a grr, and then I'll also just pick some here. So how about we do a cheer, which I'll associate with the yellow, and I will do a, let's do maybe some, let's see, human scream. How about that? Okay, so we'll do a scream. So you have scream, cheer, and a grr. So now I can go back to the scripts and continue programming. So instead of that pop with the red, now I want to create the grr sound to associate with that red. So I just change that, and so when I press the up arrow, grr, it plays the grr sound. So we're just going to repeat that again with all these other ones. So with the blue, how about we do the scream, and with the green, we'll do the cheer. So that way we have sounds associated with our colors to express them, and we just have this default state that we can always come back to. So the right arrow, when I press it, will be a blue and a scream. And when I go to the down arrow, it's going to be a green and a cheer. And when I go to the up arrow, it's going to be a grr and a red. Grr. Okay, so that's pretty much all the programming that we're going to do in this workshop. So that way they have all their arrow keys associated with the state and a color. And now the next part of the workshop will be to make this all interactive, where we can actually link this up and have a bit of fun with the paints and paintbrushes. So I'll take you guys outside, and I'll show you some options of how that might look. Okay guys, so now we have the Scratch program where I have the colored circles matched up to the different sounds and the arrow keys, and you can see now that I have the Makey Makey all matched up to the computer as well, with the wires connected to the arrow keys. Now I have a couple options here. The one option which I don't think will work, unfortunately, which I've been experimenting with, is the interactive paint. So I've mixed graphite with the different colors that you can see here, which are kind of vibrant, but once you start mixing the graphite, the colors become very muted. So I'll just show you for an example though that so this is a 1 in 4, and you'll see here that when I touch this paint, nothing happens. If I move it to this one that's quite a bit darker, if I touch this one, right, it does work.
But the problem with this is that if you have the two different paints that are both interactive, if they touch, they're going to short circuit, and you could cause a lot of problems with the sounds going off. So I don't think in the end this interactive paint is going to work very well. So one of the other options is that we actually get the kids to paint something like the Rothko painting or something, where they get to just choose their colors and they get to paint something for so many odd minutes, and then once they have their paint here, we can actually add interactive buttons to this. So you'll see that the paper I have here is kind of mounted onto a just a piece of cardboard to provide stability. But basically what we can do is I've taken these paper fasteners, which kind of act like buttons, and you can take, I'll get one that has a bit better point here. So let's say I want this green one to have an interactive button to it. I can take this fastener and I can poke it through and I can create a button there, and then I take it onto this back side here and I just can fasten it to the cardboard, and I'll take another one and we'll poke it through this red one somewhere. So I'll poke it through there. So we've got a button in the red, and I'll fasten that to the cardboard. And then we'll do one more with this bit right here that I've kind of mixed green and red together, but we'll try to poke the fasteners through, which can be a little bit of an issue, but not too much, and fasten that. So now what we can do is we can connect our arrow keys to the back of these buttons very easily, and I'll connect that one there and this one here. So now we have 3 arrow keys connected here, and I just have to make sure that I'm holding the ground here, and then when I touch the green or the red or the brown here, it's jumped off here. I'll have to make sure that these stick on there. So you get the idea, though, that we just have So there you have it. That is one option where I think you can, let them just have fun with their painting, and then after we run them through the bit of programming, we just add the interactive buttons to the finished piece, and then they have their painting that they can take home with the interactive buttons, and then if they buy the Makey Makey, they can just hook it up again. So that is one option. So another option that I have is where we actually make the paint here and the paintbrush the interactive triggers. So this one involves just a little bit more, but I think it's a bit more fun because they're actually constructing the interactive mode rather than just a button. So what I have is a cardboard again with some white drawing paper secured to that. And what I have here is a couple little palettes here of paint. So I've got the red and the green. That's just only because those are the only colors I have. But what I've done is just added a smidge of water into those just to help with the viscosity of the painting. And the other materials that we need are just little bits of wire. This is a stereo wire, which is about 40 cents a meter, so really easy to get, and some paper clips and tape. So what we first need to do is we need to make this paintbrush interactive. So what I've done is I've taken this wire stripper and I've stripped the wire so that the little fronds here are about the same length as the paint here. And all we need to do is match the little bit of plastic up to the wire here, take this tape, and we just secure the wire. All right. To the paintbrush, and we'll just do that in a couple more spaces here so that it doesn't get in our way. And we'll do one at the very end. Okay, so that's it for the tape, and now we have a paintbrush with some of the copper wire coming out of there and being integrated into the paint. So now what we do is we take this, the other end of the copper wire or the stereo wire, and we just connect that to the ground. So this paintbrush is going to be the trigger for the paint. And then the next thing we need to do is take these little bits of wire and just pinch one end with the alligator clip, and then take the other end and then make sure it's sticking into the paint, and we can just bend that around, and we take the paper clip just so that we can secure the wire and it doesn't come off while we're playing around with the paint. There we go. So another thing we can do is just make sure that that's hooked up again. So there we go. We got one paint hooked up. Next paint, do the same. Just put the paper clip over this, and there could be some other maybe easier ways of doing that, but that works out pretty well. And we'll connect this other wire. So in the class, ideally we'd have 3 colors, but also I suppose if time is running short, we could just work with 2, but 3 would be a little bit more fun. So they've chosen their colors, and we have the program here ready to go. So I would just have like a little bit of water to just get things going, to make sure that the effect happens right off the bat. So they could just wet their paintbrush, and then when they stick it in, it makes a sound. So they can now take their paint, and then they can start painting. Maybe they do the Rothko painting, or there might be some other painting that you decide to do, but they do that, and then maybe they take a little bit of that paint, add that on there, and then we can just we won't associate the water with actually making the interaction, so the water will just simply be to clean their paint off a bit, and then they can come back into sticking their head in there and making their painting. So I think that one's like slightly a bit more interactive, but there are a little bit more components to get this one to work properly. But I suppose the trade-off for this one is that it doesn't have the buttons on it, and they can't take it home, buy the Makey Makey, and then just link up their project to it. So, another add-on, I suppose, is that they can do this project, and then if we had more time, we could actually have them add the buttons so that when they go home, they can continue using the interaction. But that's essentially it. So those are the two main options that I find are going to be the most fun and I think easily attainable. Obviously, we're going to have to teach them about circuits and just completing that circle of why nothing's happening until I touch these paints. So that will be one of the main things that will be taught in terms of using this Makey Makey. And then there was the component with the with coding and programming the colors and sounds to match the circle that they made in the program. All right, that's it.